Well, hello everyone. Welcome to No Dude Gaming Show, where we do whatever the fuck we want, when we want to do it. Today we're talking about Remnant from the Ashes, because we've been playing that game for hundreds of hours, haven't we, Felicity?
Correct. Very many hours.
So we're going to be ranking some weapons here. Alright. I think we should lay some ground rules. Things we consider when talking about if a weapon's good. First is, I guess, versatility. The number of viable builds that can use this weapon. Obviously, higher number of builds that can use the weapon, higher tier of the weapon.
Obviously.
But, on the flip side, if a weapon is, if only like one build wants to use the weapon, but that build is like one of the strongest in the whole game, it's still gonna be a high tier weapon.
It gives it a little bit more checks in the box.
A little bit more juice.
Yes.
Yeah.
But not quite as much as versatility.
Yeah. Also in versatility, we consider the number of situations in which the weapon is useful. Obviously, short range weapons on long range bosses, that's not going to feel good. Also, how much of a danger the gun is to yourself and other players.
We have one gun in particular that goes down because of it.
One gun in particular. Honestly, it's like 3 or 4 guns in particular.
Yeah, but I have one specific.
Yeah, that really gets knocked because of that. Can you think of any other criteria, Felicity, before we begin?
Easeability.
Usability.
Usability, yeah. With.
That is to say, how easy the gun is to use from a gameplay perspective.
Correct, as well as incorporating in that how much you have to reload.
Yeah.
Because that is a big thing.
So we'll say handling.
Yeah.
We'll say handling for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's begin.
Okay.
All right. What's the first weapon on our list?
First weapon is the submachine gun.
The submachine gun. We have already talked at length about the submachine gun. So, but before we place it where we've already agreed it deserves to go, let's rehash a little bit about the submachine gun. So, sorry.
So first and foremost, it has an unslotted mod.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's worth saying that it is the only. I'm sorry. It's the only not shit fully automatic sidearm.
Yeah, I would agree.
The only not shit fully automatic sidearm that has a slottable mod.
And that's what I would agree.
And that puts it in a league of its own.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you would like to say about it before I kind of go off on my little spiel?
Versatility. It can be used in basically any build unless you have a build for a specific sidearm.
Yeah, because it has an open mod and because it's repeating and has a relatively short reload time, it's decent. It can be decent in any build. It might not be the best choice for any build, but it's a solid choice no matter what you're running. I guess unless you're running like a reload heavy build, maybe you wouldn't want to use it then. But the point is that exception kind of proves the rule.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, it gets another step above the rest still because of how well it plays with crit damage builds, particularly the one that I run. It is just man, it its damage is respectable otherwise, but in a crit build, it is. I mean, it's stronger than some main arms, some long rifles. So
definitely
S tier because in a lot of with a lot of builds, you have to have a reason not to use it. Okay.
So
next weapon.
Flipping from S to not S. Curse of the Jungle God.
Curse of the Jungle God. Felicity, you have used this weapon a lot more than I have, so
I haven't used it that much.
Yeah, I haven't used it that much.
There's a reason you don't use it.
All right, well, tell us about it.
It's just not good.
Okay, why is it not good?
It's not one that I remember super strongly, so I don't remember the reload. But I know that the reload, you had to reload it a decent bit.
Yes.
Yes. But the mod is not
lackluster to say the least.
Yeah, it's lackluster. Everything about it lost. It's not super strong. It is just not fun.
So here's what I remember about Curse of the Jungle God. It has decent DPS, but the magazine is about a third. It feels like it's about a third to 2/3 as large as it should be. So you're kind of in reload city the whole time. And the other thing is that the mod just, oh my god, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it does good damage when it actually hits. But it's a stationary it's a stationary sentry with a relatively low radius, and so it's never going to hit. So I think that Curse of the Jungle God deserves D tier.
Solid D.
Solid D tier. If you like this gun, that is fine. I can't call you names for that. Next,
we have Defiler.
Defiler. What can be said about this gun? It's basically the Magnum revolver, but not quite as good damage, faster fire rate, and the mod hits like a truck.
It is one of my favorite sidearms.
Yeah, I would agree that Defiler is probably among the better sidearms in the game. Although I'm not super sold on it, because there aren't all that many builds where it has a chance to shine. I think
it hits like a truck, but you'll be in reload city. Magazine size is 6. It's good if you have like a large area of people, because the mod will just shoot. Has a massive spread, but there are better options.
I would agree that there are better options, but if you're running a mage build like I do sometimes,
I'd say solid B.
Solid, I would say high B. High B, because mage builds exist, and so it can do just crazy amounts of damage. Next.
Hive Cannon.
Hive Cannon. Oh boy. Well, let me tell you about the Hive Cannon.
Now, this is the one we were talking about that is a liability, because the amount of times I have been hit and caught in the crosshairs with the mod on this gun because Steven doesn't know how to be responsible with the Hive Cannon. It's infuriating.
We had some serious disagreement about this weapon because I think that it's among the better weapons in the game, because it is the only weapon that allows you to apply corrosion from a distance, and that's a really big deal. On the other hand, however,
I do not agree.
on the other hand, however, uh, is that extra 25%, is that extra 25% damage dealt by the party to said boss, worth, as well as the damage over time? You can't ignore that. But is that worth a magazine size of 5 and the fact that every attack from this gun is a liability to you and the players around you? I love this gun because it's hilarious and it's strong. I think that it would be in low B tier if it were not for the fact that Vulcan's detonator exists. But because Vulcan's detonator exists, I would put Hive Cannon in high B tier.
And I think it is, no matter what you have with it, it's either low B or high C. It is simply not worth the liability, along with the fact that the mod is the only thing that makes it to where it does, does well. Just shooting by itself.
It's not the case when you're using Vulcan's detonator, but nonetheless.
But that's
B tier.
It's
B
not. There's no variety because you have to use that. Mag size is small. It's a liability. It's like it belongs in low B, if not C. And the only reason I'm not saying directly C is because you like it so much. I hate this gun. The amount of times I said, if you do not stop hitting me, I am going to remove your privileges, is immense. I could not give you a number amount of times I said that because you kept hitting me when you weren't trying.
So to kind of spend a little more time on this gun than it's really worth, I think that it's worth bringing up how it pairs with certain hard-hitting mods that various long rifles have, most particularly the fusion rifle and alternator. Good lord. 5 stacks of corrosion, and then you hit them with the fusion rifle's weapon? Holy shit. That's a lot of damage.
I will settle for low B.
Alright. B tier it is. I think that's been decided for a while.
Yes.
Next.
Hunting pistol.
Hunting pistol is F tier. Because if you're using a build that wants to reload a lot, you have better options.
Even in survival mode, which I did have this in survival mode, early game, it was bad. And I just needed a new weapon.
It really just doesn't.
You have one shot, and then you have to reload.
Yeah, unlike Twin Shot, it just doesn't have. It doesn't have the DPS or the weak point modifiers that you need to make up for the low magazine size. It's just bad. It is just bad. Alright. Next.
Machine pistol.
Machine pistol is F tier.
Agreed.
You could spend 2 whole magazines on a normal ass enemy with this gun. Its magazine size is too small. It does not deal enough damage. It's awful. Terrible. No one uses the machine pistol for good reason, because it sucks.
Agreed. I haven't used it much.
Moving on.
Magnum revolver.
Magnum revolver. So the Magnum revolver I have mixed feelings about because it is close enough to Defiler in magazine size and damage output. as well as fire rate, that I can't justifiably say that it's awful. Because it's not. It is a good weapon.
It's strong.
It is strong, and it has a slottable mod, and it has decent mod power generation.
Yeah.
I would say C tier.
Low C.
I would say I would say C tier because there are situations in which I find myself using this gun.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always kind of those situations where I have nothing better that I want to use.
Yeah, when I've used it, it didn't leave me frustrated like a lot of other pistols.
Yeah.
It was like I would definitely like to have a different gun, a different sidearm, but this works for now.
Exactly. Yeah, you're always gonna move on from it, but you're never gonna complain about having to use it.
Good early game.
Yeah, it's really good early game.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Pride of the Iskall.
Oh baby. Oh my god. Pride of the Iskall. I have very mixed feelings about this gun. I have. Well, Felicity, have you ever used it?
Yeah. It was one that I used when I was trying to get the.
Trying to get the one where you have to kill
multiple guns.
Yeah. The one
trait.
The one trait. Yeah. Pride of the Iskall is.
It's lackluster.
It's pretty lackluster, because of that delay that it has on its explosions. I like how it does both range damage and explosive damage, but the delay makes it to where if you're in a pinch, you might still go down.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to the fact that the secondary damage is explosions, so if an enemy is charging you, you will also get hit with those explosions.
Yeah. I would say it, for me, was kind of like using Curse of the Jungle God.
Yeah.
Just lackluster. It wasn't as infuriating as Curse of the Jungle God, but it was just kind of, God, I can't wait to get done with this gun.
I will say is that, unlike Curse of the Jungle God, Pride of the Iskall has a solid mod.
Yeah, and so I would put it at about C. I wouldn't quite put it in D.
I agree. It has a really, really solid mod, good damage, and it heals you. The damage, just baseline, is pretty decent. But I will say, and we talked about builds, with the right build, Pride of the Iskall can hit like a train, dude. It can absolutely demolish things. Because if you're using Vulcan's detonator, and I don't recall what the ring is that modifies, I don't know if there is one. Anyway, point is, if you're using the right build, I would put Pride of the Iskall closer to A tier. But the thing is that in order to use Vulcan's detonator well, you have to find a long rifle to pair with it, and that's awkward, and I think that C tier is a fair place to put it.
I would also say that it was a little bit of a disappointment when you get it, because you're like, ooh.
Because it's like, this is the hardest boss in the game that I just beat, and now
you get
here we are.
The Pride of the Iskall,
with Pride of the Iskall. It's not even green.
No. It's just kind of
That's a weird comment. I had been expecting for it to be green.
Yeah, well, there's
because
a lot of green.
all of it is called. Anyway, that's completely beside the point.
Yes.
C tier it is. I would sooner use this gun than the Magnum revolver
I would
because
agree.
unlike the Magnum revolver, Pride of the Iskall is actually fun to use. And I think that's something that's important to say is that it's fun,
I don't know
you
if I
know?
would say fun. I do find it a little bit boring, but it is more.
At least funny. Cause,
Eh,
cause like if you, like if you have Vulcan's detonator on, right, and you're running around with Pride of the Iskall, everything is exploding, everything's on fire,
you're killing
and it's
your teammates
hilarious.
too. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's more entertaining than the Magnum revolver.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Anyway,
So you need
let's.
to put it above the Magnum.
Huh? I can't. I
Yes, you
cannot.
yes you
Oh,
can. There you
okay.
go.
There you go.
We're on the repeater pistol.
Okay. Repeater pistol.
This one's on you. I've never used it.
Repeater pistol. Okay, so the thing is that depending on how much you play adventure mode and what sort of encounters you roll, it might be like it might take you until the end of Earth to find a good sidearm. And during that time, the repeater pistol is going to it's going to serve you just fine. I will also say that this gun, far more so than in story or adventure mode, it really shines in
Survival.
it really shines in survival. Even though you're still gonna want to eventually trade it out for something else, I think it would be a lie to say that this is a bad gun.
I think I would agree. It does well, especially for crowd control.
I'm not a huge fan of the damage
Yeah.
in story and adventure mode, but I think the other factors kind of kind of help it pull through. I would say low C tier, um, simply because you're gonna eventually find better options, but when you do have it, you're not like, oh God, get me something else, please.
Reliable.
It's reliable. All right,
Sawed off.
sawed off, A tier.
Low A.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Um, if and I guess okay, you have to qualify this because um because there are bosses that you just cannot fight using the sawed off.
Yes, and that's why I say low A.
Um,
It's not. It can be used in most builds, but I think there are better choices.
mhm.
Hits like a truck, an unslotted mod slot.
Mhm.
The range is not good.
It's the range isn't great, but the fall off is not as bad as other shotguns.
That's why I say
And
low A.
so I think it's pretty decent. Um, I also think that it's worth saying at this point that I am not intimately familiar with some of these weapons. There's some of them that I haven't used a whole lot.
I
So
have used this one.
I have also used the sawed off quite a bit, and in just normal gameplay, oh my God, it feels so good to use. It's
I would say it depends on where you are, because if you're dealing with a mob of enemies, you're going to just want to go to your long arm, because it hits like a truck. It can kill most enemies that are not elites in one hit,
mhm.
but you have 3 shots.
Yeah.
And then you gotta reload.
Yeah.
It takes forever. And so if you're going to mob, it's not the best.
That's fair.
So that's why I would say low A.
Okay. Okay. Alrighty. Next.
Spitfire. Ooh.
My baby. Spitfire. I think we can both agree.
Absolutely.
Spitfire is high A tier.
Mhm.
In my mind, Spitfire doesn't have drawbacks necessarily as much as it does have reasons why it is not in S tier. In my mind, reasons why it is not in S tier are You don't have a slottable mod. The mod, there are a lot of bosses where the mod won't reach.
Yep.
Most notably the Dreamer, Harsgard, and Ixalis, which, I mean, it's fair to say that those are two of the biggest deal type bosses.
And basically any enemy that is rampant, that moves very quick, it won't do very well for it.
Oh, I disagree. I think that
you have to be able to actually hit it, and if it's moving around rapidly, like for instance the Iskall Queen, it's not that good.
That's fair. Anyway,
if you can hit stuff with it and hold it for a minute, it's very good, and that's why I alternate between Spitfire and a couple other sidearms, but it's in my top.
Right. But separate and apart from the mod, the reload speed it's not preferable.
No.
It's not super slow, but the thing is that because the magazine size is 26, you're going to be doing it often. And so that's a little bit, that knocks it out of S tier in my mind. I will say that if you at any point decide that you want a build that just uses fire damage, and that's what you like doing, I've kind of played around with that at points, and good lord, the flamethrower on Spitfire can do just insane amounts of damage if you've built it right.
The enemy in Corsus, can't remember his name, but the one that blinks in and out.
Oh yeah.
Spitfire's my go-to.
Yeah, it's the he's the weird like glitchy type guy.
Yeah, the glitchy guy. Yeah.
I can't remember what he's called either.
His name. He's the something.
Flickering Horror.
Yeah, Flickering Horror. There you go. That Spitfire's my go-to. He just does good, and he helps you see where he is.
Yeah.
When he goes in the air, like must.
Good gun. Let's move on.
Last handgun, Twin Shot.
Twin Shot. I think that Twin Shot deserves a place among the greats. I think that Twin Shot deserves to be an S tier.
I will have to. I'm sure I could argue a little bit due to magazine size. However, I've never used it, so my opinion is basically null in this situation.
Here's the thing about Twin Shot. Is if you're using it, you are almost certainly pairing it with the, I don't recall what it's called, but the armor that gives you a buff every time you reload.
Yeah,
and
which makes it good.
And so you want to be reloading a lot. And the not critical, but the other one, the weak spot
damage.
The weak spot modifier on Twin Shot is through the damn roof, to the point that, all those factors taken into account, it is good even outside of the build where it shines most. And I think that is that's in my mind, that's why it probably deserves to be an S tier. It is quite simply the only sidearm that is more versatile and more reliable than it is the SMG.
I won't disagree.
All right, next.
Okay, so we're moving on to long guns. We're going to start with Alternator.
The Alternator. Oh, my baby. My baby. Straight to top of A tier.
I won't disagree. I haven't used it as much as you have, but I have used it, and it's a good gun.
Yeah. So kind of like with Spitfire, in my mind, Alternator has reasons why it is not in S tier, because the reality is that it is in all but a few ways literally just the assault rifle.
But without a
Literally
but,
just through. I said in all but a few ways. Okay. In all but a few ways, it is just the assault rifle. It has the same fire. Well, it has a little bit faster fire rate, and a little bit lower damage per hit, which averages out to the same DPS. It takes a little bit longer to reload, which is not a big deal when you kill things as quickly as the Alternator does. But for me, there are two main reasons why this gun is not in S tier. Let me see. One main reason. No, two main reasons. Why it's not in S tier. The first is that the bullets do not travel as quickly as most other guns. I think it probably has some of the slowest bullet travel speeds of any gun in the game, to the point that it makes it difficult to hit moving targets. So that's my main complaint. Second complaint is that the mod is a hazard to your teammates, which the fact that we're still putting it in high A tier is a testament to just how fucking strong this mod is, because, like, I mean, honestly, like, there have been fights where, like, Felicity was using Alternator, and she accidentally hit me, and I was like, shit, I don't care, you just took out 1/10 of the boss's health bar, you know? I love this gun. It is very much fun, and most of the time, whenever I'm using my mage build, if I'm not, most of the time I'm using Alternator, if I have my mage build going. Next,
we're on to my favorite,
okay.
My baby.
Okay.
The assault rifle.
The assault rifle.
And if you don't put it at the top, I will leave.
Assault rifle. I think we can both agree that assault rifle is top of S tier.
Absolutely.
Felicity, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, it has good damage.
Yep.
Good fire. It's all just an all-around good gun, and I would consider great if you have the right setup and the right mods for it. This is my go-to gun, and there is not a. I will sometimes dabble in other long guns, but assault rifle is my go-to. It's reliable, it's versatile, good mods, good damage, all around a good gun.
Well, and I think importantly, there are only a few I think importantly, most builds have to have a reason not to use the assault rifle, because the damage is just that good. The magazine size is respectable. It handles well, reloads quickly. It's just an all-around great weapon. It's fun to use.
Has decent range too.
Yeah. Like in my mind, you have to kind of be going for something specific in order to justify not using the assault rifle.
Yep.
Next.
Beam rifle.
The beam rifle. I think that the beam rifle deserves to go in between Spitfire and the sawed-off. Honestly, okay, this might be controversial between you and me. I think it deserves to go above Spitfire.
You're wrong. And absolutely wrong. I have used the beam rifle a decent bit.
Mhm.
It was one of the ones that I used to try to
Mhm.
get that one thing.
Yeah.
And I also used it before that.
Mhm.
I've used the beam rifle a lot. It is just simply, and I know it's a long gun versus a handgun. It is not as good as Spitfire.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Yeah. So here's the thing about the beam rifle. Its damage ratchets up the longer you have it trained on a single target, which means it's great for boss fights. Has a magazine size of 50, so again, great for boss fights.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing about the beam rifle is that you can use it both in a radiation build and in a fire build. Because it's going to get those buffs from radioactive ember, but it's also going to get buffs if you, I forget what it's called, but it's the talisman that increases fire damage. This is the only weapon that I can think of off the top of my head. The only elemental weapon that has a slottable mod.
Yeah, it's really good.
And that's a big deal because it means that you can put hotshot on it.
Mm-hmm.
And good fucking lord, hotshot on the beam rifle is insane.
Yeah.
Very good weapon.
I wouldn't be mad if it was above Spitfire, but I would just say in my opinion, it's about even.
Yeah.
Spitfire and beam rifle are about even.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Other than that, there's not a whole lot to say about it. I don't think it really slots into any top tier builds.
I find it a little less fun than Spitfire.
Yeah,
I think that's
fair.
the only reason I would say that Spitfire is a little bit higher.
All right, next.
Chicago Typewriter.
Chicago Typewriter. I think that Chicago Typewriter deserves to be in low A tier. What do you think?
I would put it above the Sawed-Off.
I'd agree. Above the beam rifle? I think it should be above the beam rifle.
If it's above the beam rifle, then you need to put it above Spitfire, which I'm not upset about.
I don't agree that it should go above Spitfire.
I'm not mad at it going in between.
Here's the thing with the Chicago Typewriter. There are two main things that I don't like about it. One is the reload speed. I think that the reload speed is lame. And the second thing is the fact that its spread starts out wide and then narrows, which is cool if you're fighting a boss, but if you're,
it's not the most accurate.
It's not the most accurate, especially if you're kind of in the end game where your damage is respectable enough that once you're that you're probably going to be killing most enemies in in like a smaller fraction of a magazine. I just feel like the Chicago Typewriter misses a lot more than I would prefer.
No, I absolutely agree. It's solid. It's a solid gun.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not mad with it playing it apart between beam rifle and Spitfire. But I would agree that it is, again, like the beam rifle, more boring than Spitfire.
Yeah.
And reload speed, I would think, is close with Spitfire. But I would say it's less accurate than Spitfire.
Yeah. I think a few other things worth noting. One is that the Chicago Typewriter is going to be probably your best bet if you're running a critical build in the mid-game. If you're running a critical hit build, Chicago Typewriter plus the SMG is probably going to be your best combination until you hit the fusion rifle. and even once you hit the fusion rifle, depending on how you feel, I know a friend of mine uh, prefers the Chicago typewriter over the fusion rifle under certain conditions. Um, so I think that mid A tier is just fine.
Yeah.
Also, one thing, another bad thing that I just thought of that I don't like about it is the fact that it is not an actual Thompson.
Yeah.
Um, it and that is lame because I want an actual Thompson with a drum barrel. Anyway, next.
Coach gun.
Coach gun is in D.
I was about to say D.
Uh,
I would put it above Curse.
Oh, 100%.
But it's bad. It's just not good.
The thing about the coach gun, among the shotguns, its damage fall off is not as bad, but and its its damage per shot is okay, but good lord, only 2 shots.
It reloads, but I don't. It'll get you where you're going at the beginning.
And I would say even at the beginning, if I'm starting out and I say I'm just kind of playing for what's fun for me, like I might start out with ex-cultist so that I can get the trait and the mod.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as I have enough scrap, I'm moving to either the shotgun or the hunter rifle, and that in my mind is where where the coach gun falls short. You will never use it if you have something else.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, you can get the submachine gun pretty quick.
Yeah.
And that instantly takes it out. Yeah. I was ready to be done and get rid of that gun quick when I restarted a new character.
All right. Next.
Crossbow.
Crossbow. We had a little bit of a disagreement on this, didn't we?
Not too much of a disagreement.
I think that crossbow deserves A tier. Deserves S tier.
And no.
Here's the thing, is
because twin shot is probably the lowest S tier, and it is lower than twin shot. It can go in A tier, and I'll put it in A tier. And the main reason I'll put it in A tier is because of how good it does in things like survival mode and early game.
And see, in my mind, how well it does in survival mode, because I mean, like if you open up a survival mode and you see that the crossbow is in the starting shop, you know it's going to be a good day.
I would choose Chicago typewriter or beam rifle before I choose it.
And see, so this, I think that it's worth saying that this is kind of where we get into, I have used crossbow builds, and they're just not the sort of playstyle that you enjoy, but they are really strong.
They're strong, but even you will switch the build pretty fast.
Okay, I agree, but that's more because it's not as, like, it's a gameplay style that I only like in, like bits and spurts, but with the right build, the crossbow can be just absolutely ridiculously strong.
It's the magazine size of 1.
Yes. But
have to. It's reload city, and I understand you can do the one thing that makes it to where you get more when you reload or whatever. There are few scenarios where that would be better than a good chunk of the long guns, including Chicago typewriter and the beam rifle. It would hit about as much as the sawed-off for me.
So, with I think it's the Harbinger set? I don't know. We're going to call it the Harbinger set. With the Harbinger set, every time you reload, you get, I think it's an extra 30% damage on shots that you make for the next on the next shot that you make, and that lasts for like, I don't know, fucking like 10 seconds, 5 seconds, something like that. Anyway, point is, if you have to hit something multiple times and you're wearing the Harbinger set, the crossbow is going to hit like a train.
So will the sawed-off.
But the sawdust doesn't have a range. The crossbow has very little fall off.
I mean, it has 18 meters of range.
I think that it, simply because of the strength of crossbow builds, I think that it deserves...
Do not put it above Spitfire.
Fine.
I will settle for there because we are disagreeing and you thought it should be an S tier. I think it should be around the sawed-off. That is my opinion. But we can leave it there.
Alright, well, for all you crossbow chads out there, let it be known that Steven thinks that crossbow is S tier, even though it's not necessarily my gameplay style. Next.
Devastator. I've never used it.
I really want to like Devastator. I really do. Because it's cool. But the reality is that functionally it's a short-ranged crossbow with longer reload time and an unslottable mod. And I just can't put it above C tier.
I won't disagree.
I just can't put it above C tier.
Are we moving up?
Um,
Because I have no commentary.
You know, okay, I'll move it up to B tier, because no, because once you have you get Devastator after you get the crossbow, and so like there's no, unless you just really like Devastator for some reason, there's actually no reason to use it.
Okay.
Unless you're doing a bleed build, which, tell me about that. I'm actually curious. Alright, next.
Eye of the Storm.
Eye of the Storm. It's the hunting rifle, but cool this time. B tier.
Never used it. I won't disagree.
I'm putting it above the Hive Cannon.
I won't disagree.
Alright.
Fusion Rifle.
Fusion Rifle. Top of S tier.
No, do not
Top
put
of S tier.
it. Do not put it above the assault rifle.
Why?
Do not
Why?
put a rifle over the assault
listen,
rifle.
Listen.
Because the assault rifle
right.
is above it. It just is.
Okay, but the fusion rifle is actually the strongest weapon in the game. Like, legitimately.
It is not as good. Okay. So you're talking about the fact that you can run and gun, right?
I'm speaking. Okay, I'm speaking specifically about how well the fusion rifle performs in a critical hit build.
Okay, and the time when you go haywire and are doing more damage than I do with the assault rifle, are also the times where you repeatedly go down.
That's just because I suck at the game.
It's not a good gun. Okay, no, it is. Sorry. It is a good gun. It's not better than the assault rifle. Assault rifle, just first damage does more damage. It's unslotted mod. They're about as equally reliable. Assault rifle is better.
I think that the sheer unrivaled strength of a critical hit build with the radiant armor, the fusion rifle, shattered vertebrae, burden of the gambler, all of that gear, the sheer unrivaled strength of that build, I think that it pushes past the assault rifle.
that is just damage. I don't agree.
We're gonna have to phone a friend.
Who are you phoning?
I'm gonna call Jeremy. If he doesn't pick up, I'm probably gonna cry.
I mean, it's almost 10.
He'll be fine.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Jeremy. I have a very important question. Felicity and I have been arguing, and you need to be the deciding vote on this.
Oh boy.
We need to
Give me
know,
all the deets.
is the assault rifle or the fusion rifle, which, in Remnant, which deserves to be at the top of S tier?
Which one is the fusion rifle?
Fusion rifle is the pew-pew dopamine gun.
Assault rifle wins.
Ha!
Why does the assault rifle win?
Because
Are
it's
you
better.
I want to hear from Jeremy.
Because the pew-pew rifle is viable in fewer builds and it takes too long to rev. Also, the revving is tied to its skill, so the two aspects of the gun fight itself.
But
No arguing, it's done.
no, you have to do the other one.
It's done. I win.
But
Go
okay,
away.
but whatever. I think that the fusion rifle is top of S tier.
You're wrong. It's
Okay,
right up
okay.
there.
You don't-
It's right
you
up
don't-
there.
Say top of S tier, what do you mean?
Okay, what I mean, you don't have to use the mod. The thing is that it has the highest fire rate of any long arm. And because of that, if you're doing a critical hit, but like the way to achieve the highest DP, like you cannot achieve the highest DPS out of any build in the game without using the assault rifle. The assault rifle can fucking melt elites on nightmare mode.
Correct, assault rifle.
I meant the fusion rifle.
Well, you said it wrong, so you're
Well,
wrong.
shut up.
Nope.
You said it wrong 3 times.
Yep.
I was very confused.
Yep.
Alright, whatever. Okay.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you for your input.
Oh no.
Alright. See ya.
So if hang on, if we're talking about damage, then okay, the fusion rifle could win, but it doesn't feel as consistent.
No.
It wins in my heart.
It wins in your heart, but we're talking about all-rounder in assault rifle.
Okay. Alright.
Alright.
Alright. See you, Jeremy.
Alright, bye-bye.
Bye. We might call you back later as well, but
No, I doubt it.
I
I don't
doubt
see us disagreeing as much.
I agree. Alright, next.
Hunting rifle.
Hunting rifle deserves C tier.
I won't disagree.
I believe C tier above the machine, above the repeater pistol.
Okay.
Thing about the hunting rifle is that you're probably going to end up hanging on to it longer than you will the repeater pistol, depending on what build you're using. It's not a bad gun, although the reload speed is a bit of a pain. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about it because it's a starting gun, I'll be honest. So, yeah.
Next. Particle accelerator.
Particle accelerator. Of the weapons on this list, I think the only one I've used less than the particle accelerator is the shotgun. Here's what I know about the particle accelerator. I know that it has decent damage. I know that it has a pretty good mod. I know that it has scope, which sort of places it in its own unique category. This is the first scoped gun we've actually. Wait a minute. Does Eye of the Storm have a scope?
No.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, I don't know a whole lot about this weapon, because I don't use super long range builds. But I mean, it's alright.
I've never used it. So I won't argue.
I think
I've seen you use it, but
I think that because it has, I think that because it is the best out of all of the sighted weapons, sorry, not sighted weapons, all of the scoped weapons, because it's the best out of all of the scoped weapons, it probably deserves B tier.
I'm going to say just trying it out real quick. I would say C tier.
C tier? Because the fire rate?
Fire rate
Okay.
sucks.
We'll put it.
And it has a mag size 5.
Oh, max size. Oh, that's gross.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put it above the hunting rifle.
Okay.
And yeah, that's all we have to say about it because nobody feels strongly. All right, next.
Repulsor.
Repulsor breaks my goddamn heart.
Yeah, it's just disappointing.
So the damage drops off so fucking quickly. Now, granted, it has
short range.
It has okay damage.
Yeah. Hits like a truck.
Yeah, if you're really close, but it has a magazine size of 5, and so it's like, okay, you can't use this in a reload build.
And you have to be close.
And so it's just weird. I feel like
the mod is also not the best.
Yeah, the mod is
cool.
Yeah.
It's not the best.
It's cool but not the best. I would sooner use Repulsor than I would the Coach Gun or Curse of the Jungle God, but that's more just because of the novelty of it. I think it's high D tier, to be honest.
I didn't use it much.
All right, next.
Ricochet rifle.
Ricochet rifle also breaks my heart. Because it is so goofy and so fun, and it deals so little damage. Unless you're in survival mode. And I think that more so even than the crossbow, the Ricochet rifle gets its boost from its performance in survival mode. Because it's really lackluster in the normal gameplay, but it's pretty good in survival mode. I would. That's a hard one. You've never used it much, have you?
If I did, it was quick.
Mm.
I'm not a fan of crossbows, so
yeah, that's fair.
I stay away from him. So I don't have much to say about that one.
Okay, so just right off the bat, I think it's such a hard choice. I think I'd sooner use it than Devastator. Because its damage drop-off is relatively low.
I would say, at least from its stats, it's definitely better than Devastator.
Yeah,
I would put it low B or top of C.
I think it deserves a C tier.
Okay.
I would even put it above Pride of the Escal because you're not going to be, at least no, you might actually hit your friends. Let's put it below Pride of the Escal.
Okay.
Because I think the Pride can just do more stuff. All right, next.
Ruin.
I think we both know where this gun goes, and I, for one, have strong feelings that make me not want it to go there, but I know that it goes there.
I've never used it because I've never wanted to.
This shit's D tier, man.
Yeah. The designated mod, the non-removable mod, is only applicable.
It's only good if you suck at the game.
Yeah, because you go down.
It's only good if you suck, or if you're in hardcore mode, or if you are in, or if you're in fucking survival mode. But even if you're in survival mode, it's not that good.
No.
Because it's a fucking pea shooter. It does no damage.
Yeah.
So, which I hate, because it's so cool. It's such a cool weapon. It shoots blue lasers. But yeah,
It's not good.
I love Ruin, and I want it to be good so bad, but it is so not good.
Okay. The shotgun is next.
Shotgun is next. I have not used the shotgun very much. Have you used the shotgun very much?
A little bit. I would say it's not as, it hits like a truck. It's not bad. I haven't used it much.
Okay. So good for melee builds, but melee builds suck. So B tier?
I'm okay with B tier.
B tier. Alright.
Sniper rifle.
Sniper rifle. Do you have any feelings about the sniper rifle?
Never used it.
Okay. Here's the thing about the sniper rifle is that if you're going for a reload build, because sniper rifle only has magazine size of 1, if you're going for a reload build, you're going to want to use something else because the sniper rifle takes too long to reload. It is sighted, but that's not a lot to say about it, you know. So its reload speed is very much suboptimal. It does hit hard, but if it takes you more than one shot to kill the thing you're shooting, then you should be using other weapons.
The shotgun does more damage.
Yeah, that's fair. So what do we say for this? Bottom of C tier, top of D tier.
Yeah, bottom C is fine. Or
okay, my opinion.
Mhm.
I think that Ruin should go above the sniper rifle because here's the thing. With Ruin, you actually have a magazine. Now, granted,
Okay.
you're gonna spend it all. Shotguns.
I won't disagree. I haven't used either of them really, so I don't really have an opinion on those two, other than the little I've seen. Like I would put the sniper rifle above Rune, because I've seen you use the sniper rifle, and it's not the worst because it has such good long range. But
Yeah.
it is only good for long range.
I've never kept using the sniper rifle.
No.
Yeah. All right. Spore Bloom.
Last. Yep.
How do you feel about Spore Bloom?
Never used it in my life.
Here's how I feel about Spore Bloom. I fucking love it. I think it's hilarious.
But you don't use it.
The only reason why I don't use it is because there are so many bosses that it just doesn't do very well against, because the damage drop off is so much. I think that if you're because one of my favorite meme builds uses the shotgun and the sawed off. The Spore Bloom and the sawed off. And it just feels so good to just run up to enemies and be like, all right, and just blow them the fuck away. It's really fun. And I don't know where it should go.
I have no opinions. I don't think I even remember seeing you use it.
Okay. I'm gonna put it above the shotgun, and also I think Devastator is D tier. Like, let's be honest with ourselves.
Okay. I will not disagree.
All right. Well,
that's the list.
That's the list.
All melee weapons are F tier.
All melee weapons are F tier because melee builds suck ass.
Mm-hmm.
You can flame me, you can fight me, but I'll tell you who you can't fight. You sure can't fight the Dreamer with a melee weapon. So
or any
suck my dick.
Range enemy.
Yep. Can't fight Ixalis. Can't fight Harsgard. Let's see who else. Is it Clevius? He's the force field guy. The guy that gives you Veil of the Black Tear. The one that we were just fighting. Like 3 times in a row.
The twins give you Veil of the Black Tear.
I guess.
The Spindle.
Yeah,
guy?
Spindle guy. Yeah, him.
Can't fight him now.
No, you can't fight him because you'll just fall right off the fucking platform.
Yeah, well, you literally can't touch him.
Yeah, you actually cannot touch him. And like even if you can, you're still at great risk of falling off the platform.
The spawn, the moths. In course.
That's Ixalis.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of
that's
name.
Ixalis. Yeah, you can't fight Ixalis with melee. Like that is literally impossible.
I mean, you fall off the platform even if you're shooting sometimes. So.
Yeah. Let's see who else.
The glitch guy, the flicker.
Flickering Horde.
Can't fight. You can hit him.
Yeah, you can hit him.
Once he goes in the air, you will die.
Yeah.
Unless you have
you can't really do that either. Who else really sucks to fight at close range?
Oh, what's his name? Shroud. Sext.
No,
He
I think
sucks.
I think you can bum rush Shroud.
With how much he teleports, it would be a long fight.
Oh yeah, no, it would definitely be a cardio workout for sure.
And that's what I'm saying. And then you have to deal with all his ads as well as when he does his arrows from the sky.
Yeah, but on the other hand, in defense of melee builds, when fighting Shroud, if you know how to play him right, you can get him stuck in one of the stair rooms, and he will just not leave.
Sounds too much work on Earth.
I feel like it would be.
It would be hard to do forget his name, but we call him the Cthulhu tree because
he'd be fine.
With how he stomps, with the explosion stuff. If you're close enough, he'll still get you.
Yeah.
If you are, that is a area of effect.
You know who would really suck with a melee build? Is that Monkey King guy. The one, the Storm Court or whatever.
No, that's not his name, but I know who you're talking about.
He's the one who gives you this weapon.
Yeah, he's one of 2 world bosses.
Yeah.
And Yesha.
Yeah, the Storm Court boss on Yesha. Oh my god, he would be terrible.
Impossible because you can't hit him. He only gets on the ground very infrequently.
Well, and granted, like melee builds, like it's not like they don't use weapon, like it's not like they don't use firearms, but he like jumps and runs around, like he's never stationary when he's on the ground. Like he would be ass to try and fight with a melee build. Oh my god, you know who would really suck to fight with a melee build is the fucking ice summoner guy.
Any of the rats.
God.
Most of the rats.
Yeah.
I just hate most of the rats anyway.
Yeah.
But yes, he would suck. Also, the I forget his name, but the ninja rat.
Yeah, he would be kind of a pain. It would be a similar situation for him. like it would be with Shroud, assuming you don't know how to play Shroud's AI, you know, because he just runs the fuck around everywhere.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
there's
you
some
just
points where
chase him
you
the
literally
whole
can't
time.
touch him.
Yeah.
Because he jumps onto the wall.
Yeah. Anyway, point is, melee builds suck, and fight me. I will not change my mind. And that's the video. Y'all have a great day. I hope you enjoyed us talking shit with our idiot opinions. And
we are not experts.
we are not experts. We have only played the game for 250 hours. Have a nice day. Goodbye.